we have a Yiddish group, reading group that has some temple members, and Ethel has something called Zoom Pro.
Yeah.
And it turns out that she was like paying for it for a while, and now everybody has to pay for it. She's fine. I didn't even know that there was such a thing. But not an abuse.
It's like a drug, you've got entry level and then you've got the stuff that you can do.
Yeah, that's about it.
So it's 7:01. We're supposed to start. Let's start. Okay. A lot of wires around me. I have to say that. Okay. We can start with our theme song. Welcome to ROSH-ESTHER session number 6, guys. Should I put the words on? It starts. You can do one more time. And I should start screwing them also. I need more hands. Here we go. Here's our rows. Share screen. We're almost ready. Almost ready. בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ. בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושך על פני תהום. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושך על פני תהום. ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ. בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושך על פני תהום. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושך על פני תהום. ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. Okay, dear friends, it's good to have you here in our 6th session of ROSH-ESTHER. Let me see if there's anyone who joined on the Zoom that I don't want them to be left out. Just like in the No Kid is Left Behind program. Okay, no kid is left behind. It's all good. So we are, I think today we'll actually read the very last piece of our Zohar passage, as we never really got to the very end of it. But beforehand, I'd like to add another layer of our meditation for the Shema, and that is the following. So last week, we learned that the two augmented letters in the Shema, Ayin and Daled, create Ed, Da, and Ad. Remember, if you were here, witness and know the eternal. So that's another way when we meditate on the Shema, or even without the Shema, right? Noticing that our consciousness can always examine itself. In other words, we can always examine what we're knowing, know that we're knowing, right? And in that meeting lies the eternal, in a sense, because we always know that we know something. That something always changes. But our ability of our consciousness to know and to be conscious of its own self, that is part of meditation itself, right? It's part of and from all that, the eternal is revealed. Another thing that additionally, the Kabbalists noticed that if you take the other letters, the ones that are not augmented, okay, in the Ayin and the Dalet, of the Shema and the Echad, the letters from which it's taken, we get Shin and Mem, and Aleph and Chet, and the word that we get is Esmach, joy, or I shall rejoice, I shall be happy. Okay, you follow? Should I repeat it?
Please.
Yeah. So Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, that is the verse. That is our Jewish mantra. That we are learning that there's multiple interpretation that are windows into our consciousness. Right? So we've learned about the Echad and the Acher, and we learned about many things already involving the Shema and about the hand, and we could probably go for like another semester or two just with different one of those. Right? Last week we learned that in every Torah that you open, and in every mezuzah, and in every tefillin, the verse of the Shema, when the Sofer Stam is writing it with a column, look in our Torah here. Don't believe me? Go open it. Go to the book of Deuteronomy. Open the Shema, the Shema, and you'll see that the letter Ayin and the letter Daled are written in bigger font, which is how this trinity of, number 8 appears mysteriously, of what we learned last week, of witness and know the eternal, all come from these two letters, because Ed is witness, to introspect, Da is to know, and Ad is the eternal, which is an explanation that people give to why these two letters are augmented, because it's actually a guide for meditation. We witness that we know something, and from this encounter within our consciousness of us knowing anything at all, all the little things that we know together, they become the eternal. Okay? And then the Kabbalist said, what about the residue letters? Okay, that we know that the Ayin from Ed, Da, and right comes from the first one, Shema. You see the Shema and the letter Ayin that's augmented, and then here the Dalet that disappeared miraculously. I can't even add it because undo, Control Z. Where's the control in this one? Control Z. There you go. Thank you. Right. So in other words, the letters that are not augmented, Now we're augmenting them, even though in the Torah they're not augmented. And we get Shin Mem and Aleph Chet. Are you with me?
Where do we get the letters to?
From Shin Mem
Yeah.
and Aleph Chet. The first and the last word of the Shema, where the Ayin and the Dalet were previously taken from. What about the other letters? This one and this one. Shema and Echad. And then they miraculously found the word esmach in the Shema. I shall be happy. Why is that important to them? That when we meditate, and as we contemplate ourselves and all these things, it's very happy to do it with joy. Because meditation should never be too serious. Meditation is very serious, okay? But sometimes, you get a tendency to get too serious. Like some of the criticism that I sometimes had when I went to visit my in the desert in Israel, there was this Buddhist teacher. They have actually a Buddhist monastery in the middle of the Israeli desert, and I would go there often. There was this peace conference that they held there every year, and I was the token rabbi of the peace. So I would come, and then even one day we got a present, which was a tree that is the grandchild of the tree of the Bodhi tree from India, under which the Buddha got his enlightenment. And then the people in the monastery in the desert in Israel, they got the son or daughter of that tree. And then after that, they gave us the offshoot of that. So in other words, the grandchild tree, we planted it in our yard in the Galilee. And then a wild boar came and uprooted that tree because, that's the Buddha, is non-attachment. But then we replanted it and it survived. We hear news from our tenants there that it survived. So everything is okay for now. And if whatever. So yeah. So one of the things that I said, these Buddhists, they sit and they meditate, but they always look so serious. Sometimes when they meditate. So but then also sometimes they also laugh, right? So I think one of the things what they're trying to teach us here is that when we meditate, with a smile, okay? Because it's not just about, it's very, so in order to remember the joy element in meditation, we invite it. You fake it till you make it, okay? You fake it till you make it. Why? Because in the end, the eternal that is discovered, according to the Kabbalists, is very joyful. A union with the eternal, the divine, can fill our hearts with joy. Okay? So what if we don't feel the joy? So there's something that a technique that's called the secret smile. You know the secret smile?
Yes.
It's like this. See, this is me without a secret smile. This is me with a secret smile. You see, that's very new. It's a nuance. Okay, so sometimes if you wake up in the morning and you don't feel good about yourself, you can make the secret smile. So that secret smile, fake it till you make it. Exactly. See, then after a while you start to feel happy, right? Because what can you do? Is that little thing, so you can frown, and then it's not a smach, or you can have the secret smile. And then if you have a secret smile, you're smiling, right? Maybe you're feeling happy, maybe you're faking it, but it does affect, because what you can do, for example, we can scan our body with a secret smile. And every time we feel that there's something tense or unhappy in our body, smile into it. Now I have my toe is itchy, I'm smiling into it. Or maybe I have a little pain in the back of my neck. Smile into it. It helps. You can try that. I'm not saying that's not going to cure your problems. I'm not saying that it's like the solution. Sometimes you have to go to a psychologist or to a physician or to the repair shop or whatever. But so you could smile, right? So we kind of so it doesn't have to be the body either. If there's something in our emotional self that is not happy, you smile into it. If there's a perturbing thought, you smile into it. In other words, esmach, joy, bringing the element of joy into our meditation. Should never be too like, I'm meditating. I'm looking for harmony with God. I'm looking for when is the divine going to, no. Secret smile. Okay, so we basically, there's a song, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, worship the Lord with gladness. Okay, so we can wait all our life frowning for God's love to, come from above, or we can actually be the source of that thing. So adding the secret smile. It doesn't have to be exaggerated. All right? So we can try that today when we meditate. So what you do, we're going to do everything that we did before, but we're going to do it with a secret smile. Now, before we close our eyes, let's just all practice together the secret smile. It goes like this. Ready? Look at me. Yeah. You can do it with your eyes open. Do it with your eyes closed. Do it with one eye open and one eye closed. You can do it with the other eye open, but you see the secret smile. So let's now, so we can now just as we do every week, we can be kind of conscious in our sitting. So aware of our body, aware of our feet touching the ground. Mother Earth's energy is supporting us. And you can push with your feet as hard as you want on Mother Earth. You'll still won't move Mother Earth. Mother Earth is much bigger, strong. Right? And then cosmic energy above our heads. There's the whole universe, stars, galaxies from the beginning of time is being poured on our heads as we speak. It's amazing. It's actually all around us. Also beneath our feet, there's also stars, but because So it's great. And then our body is somewhere in this universe. It's unbelievable. We have a space in this universe. It's called our bodies. And as we become aware of ourselves, we can also connect to our breath. Remember the secret of Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. We have our bodies. That's the Vav. We have the breath, inhale and exhale, Hey and Hey. And we have the point of consciousness, the Yud. And if we had a microscope and we looked at that tiny Yud, we'd notice that the trinity of Da, Ed, and Ad is in it. In every given moment, our mind always knows something. And all those encounters between consciousness and what it knows is a reflection of the eternal. It all comes from the same place. And to all this practice of meditation, we now today add the secret, fake it till you make it, smile. So let's make sure that we're smiling a little bit with our mouth. And with this little smile, almost invisible, let's sit for a moment, just smiling like this. And observe it if it affects our consciousness in any way. And what you can do now is experiment with a secret smile as you scan your body. Send that smile to different parts of it. See what happens when you send the smile, happy consciousness to different parts of your body, such as your toes or your knees. You can smile into our belly. You can smile to our fingertips. You can even smile into our breath. Inhale with a smile. Exhale with a smile. Smile into the little gap that exists between inhale and exhale. Whatever thought we have in this very moment, we can smile into it. If we had an encounter with another human being today, whether it was a good one or a challenging one, smile into it. Etc. So the little smile we make with our mouth is just a physical reminder of a smiling, happy energy that we bring forth as part of this component of this meditation. And then we can say the Shema together, keeping the little smile. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. From this place of relative unity, we can say the blessing for the study of Torah. Let this mitzvah that we're engaging in together of studying Torah help to bring forth light into our own lives, into our loved ones' lives, our neighbors, and people, even people who aren't our neighbors and that we don't even know. If anybody now is in need of some light in their lives and our Torah study You can help that. May it be so. Let's say the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And we can slowly exit our meditation mode and come out of it. How many of us remember to be smiling throughout it? Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, right? Because when we get lost in our own thought or something like that, the eternal smile can sometimes dissipate, which is fine. And then we can return it. Right? So again, these are tools. If they help you, fine. If not, go to the next tool. Right? But the idea is that just to see that there are so many different components to this practice that have been developed throughout the years by Jewish practitioners, such as ourselves, who said the Shema, right? And for them, Jewish prayer was not just a technical thing that you do because you come to the synagogue to do it. It's a daily practice that you either do alone in your own home or in the field or wherever you are, or if you come together as a group to pray, right? There's what we do on the outside, and there's the inner world of the practitioner. And whether or not these letters and these practices were there in the beginning when they wrote these prayers, or these things that people have added to them later on, makes no difference. Right? It's a tradition that relates to the Shema as this epicenter, as this magnet for many, many different practices that have evolved throughout the years, throughout many, many generations. Today we added again the component of esmach, I shall be happy. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha. When we meditate, especially if we feel like it's becoming so grave and serious, inner smile. Use that smile. I find it to be a very powerful, simple tool. If I'm in some kind of an intense moment, if I'm in a meeting, one of the committees at the synagogue, everybody has 7 different opinions. As a rabbi, I have to say, you're right, and you're right, and you're right. People are complaining. And sometimes, sometimes I lose it and I have to remind myself. Very natural. Okay, so if you use the Shema as a daily ritual, morning and evening, very simple way. Sometimes that's all we need is a minute when we just, oh yeah, that was also annoying. Okay, that person, we have a problem with them. All right. I have a trauma from my childhood. There are wars in the world. Inner smile. A lot we can do with that tool. We can work magic, right? So it's just a little thing we need to get out of a tough moment, right? So another element to remember when we practice this Jewish Kabbalistic meditation. All right, so technically we remember where the letters esmach came from. They are the other letters in the first and last word of the Shema that aren't the Dalet and the Ayin. They are the, you see, so meditation is both very, very serious. I know and I witness the eternal. Ta-da! And it's also just joy. Important, right? So it's not like flimsy, unconscious joy, right? It's conscious joy. Okay, any comments or questions or complaints about that? You're good? You can keep practicing your inner smile throughout the class and later on too. All right? Remind me if I lose it too. I'll just do this and I'll remember. Okay, so where are we? So, in the Zohar, we've been learning about the rose. Remember the rose? And the rose that is opening, remember all that? The rose is opening towards the heavens. It's found in the text. It teaches us that as Jews, we read scripture, revelation, in a radical way, not just literally, not just historically. right? We're allowed to find pictures and visions inside scripture. And we are that rose that opens up towards the divine. And we are also the divine that comes into it. It's all in us and it's all in God, right? And we learn that this rose is full of mercy and compassion and judgment, which is symbolized in Jewish mysticism by the red and the white colors of the roses. Right? We learned that it's in the different religions. It's not just Jewish. It's Kabbalistic, but not just Kabbalistic. We've learned that this rose is embedded in many of our rituals. Right? We've learned that this rose reminds us that our tradition calls us to use all our senses and all our being into our practice, not just our brain, not just our, one part of us, all of us, right? All the different sensations and faculties. And we learned about the erotic aspects of the rose and the tree that enters it, penetrates it, and creates seed, right? Reminding us that a lot of Jewish spirituality has to do with masculine and feminine energy that is in each and every one of us, but is also in the way that we experience the divine. So for the Jews, again, we did not invent that. It's in all the esoteric traditions. But for us, masculine and feminine energies, what we say, you can borrow the terms yin and yang from other traditions, right? Are in our experience of ourselves, but also of God. And then the rose symbolizes that as well. Right? And towards the end, we spoke about right? And then towards the end of our text, it says something strange a little bit. It says, this is the tree bearing fruit with its seed in it. That seed endures in the actual sign of covenant. We read that. Just as the image of the covenant is sown in 42 couplings of that seed, so the engraved explicit name is sown in 42 letters of the act of creation. And this is how our paragraph ends in the Zohar, the first page of the Zohar that we've been following throughout the semester. Just when we thought that we were starting to understand it, they confuse us with more stuff that is even more confusing. There is a holy name, apparently, consisting of 40, how many? 2 letters, that is a symbol of this rose and the tree, that, the masculine and the feminine that unite. And that is the act of creation. Anyone ever read Douglas Adams here? Douglas Adams, Restaurant at the End of the Universe, science fiction, right? Yeah, what's anyone? There's some 42. What is 42 there? The answer. So according to this, they had it's like a science fiction thing, and they made a whole computer that for billions of years calculated the answer. What's the answer for everything? And after billions of years, the computer answered 42. So they had to. So what's the question, right? And then actually, it's later on in the series, they discovered that computer was actually planet Earth, which was destroyed by some galaxy, something, whatever. So apparently, Douglas Adams knew something about Kabbalah because 42. How do we get to 42? So there is an ancient tradition that one of the secret names of God, and one of the longer ones, consists of 42 letters. And if you try to figure out what is this 42, you get many different answers. Some people say it's the first 42 letters of Genesis, which is kind of like the verse that we're reading, but it ends a little bit before that. Many people say that it's this combination. Ana bechoach gdulat yamincha tatir tzrura. Kabel rinat. You see, this is basically, there's even a song that they sing it, and the name of 42 letters. You see the jewelry? If you look, there's many jewelry. There's Jewish, it's called amulets, or what? Yeah, that they have it on rings, they have it on chains, they have it on cups, they have it on different things that it's for protection. So it's also on a very folky level of Kabbalah, and if you want to protect yourself, you engrave the name of 42 letters. On the internet, if you look, just search the name 42 letters in jewelry, you'll see it. Many, and sometimes with stones, with silver, with different. So where this 42 comes to, and how is it relating to all of this? Well, one thing to know is that 42 is how 6 times what? 6 times 7. How is 6 times 7 related to the story of creation? The 6 days of creation and the 7th day of rest is 42. Right? So if you basically take each one of each day of the week and you kind of like combine it with the Holy Sabbath, Sunday and the Sabbath, Monday and the Sabbath, Tuesday and the Sabbath, Wednesday and the Sabbath, Thursday and the Sabbath, Friday of the Sabbath, you get to 42. Okay, so this multiplication of the active of the passive, the work day, the weekday, and the day of rest, yin and yang. Okay, that's one way to understand 42. Another way to understand 42 is miraculously in Hebrew, Ma'aseh Bereshit, the story of creation or the works of creation. Ma'aseh can be translated into, right, is the initials are Mem and Bet. Do you know Gematria? Anyone here? Does anyone here? So in the Jewish tradition, every letter of the alphabet has a numeric value. So if you want to say 1, what do you say? Aleph. Kita Aleph, right? First grade. If you want to say 2, what is 2? Bet. If you want to say 10, Yud. That's the 10th letter of the alphabet. If you want to say 11, what do you say? Yud Aleph. See? That's how Gematria works. Right? So the first 9 letters are 1 to 9. Yud becomes 10, and Kaf, the next one, becomes 20. You see, and then in other words, and then Kuf becomes 100, Reish 200, Shin 300, and Taf the last one 400. After that, you have to start adding. Right? So, for example, our year 5,780, whatever it is, 5 now, is Ha-Tash-Pa, like we have. So in Hebrew, all of the letters have numeric value. Mem happens to be 40. And Bet happens to be 2. So the initials of Ma'aseh Bereshit, the story of creation, is also 42. So it works out. Okay? So the Ma'aseh Bereshit, which is basically how all the components of creation were put together and brought together with the Sabbath to bring the completion of this work, is symbolized by this 42. Another interesting thing about 42, when we sing Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha vehayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha. It's familiar, right? Veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Guess how many words there are in this paragraph? Take a wild guess. 42. Which brings us to a very weird sensation that the people who wrote the Bible actually, in fact, not the Kabbalists who came 2,000 years later and put meaning into it, but actually the people who wrote the Shema and wrote Deuteronomy, actually that meditation, that secret of the 42 letters goes as far as the time when the Bible is written. One of the proofs, by the way, that Kabbalah isn't just a middle age medieval invention of about 1,000 years ago, but goes back all the way to the roots of when the Bible was written, to the priests and the sages who sat in Jerusalem and wrote the Bible, is that this can't be a coincidence. The Shema has many numeric secrets in it that if you learn it, you understand. This is one of them. That actually the original people who wrote the original Shema and all its blessings didn't just randomly write it. They had some numeric traditions of divine names of God that they embedded into the Shema. This is one of them. Don't believe the teacher. Count the words at home from Ve'ahavta until Visharecha. Okay? You will see. So, somebody check me out here. Yeah, 42? Are you counting? Counting? You're doing a good job. Doing a good job. While you're counting, yeah, 42. Rachel Messiah, it's been decided. It's 42, right? Another thing, what is Vedibarta? Bam. What is bam? It should be bahem, in them, usually in Hebrew. Bam, I think, you never say this bam anywhere else in the Bible. What is bam? Which letters? Yeah, the one in bold. Vedibarta, bam. Bet, mem. Another secret. Okay? The story, so why? Because when we recite the Shema as a prayer, as we said, we reenact daily the works of creation. Every morning, every evening, when we say the Shema, okay, we are meditating, we are partaking with God, with the Creator. We are partners with God in the secret, in Maaseh Bereshit, in the works and the story of the creation. We are of God. The divine spark is within us. We remind ourselves of that in the morning and in the evening as we say the Shema as a spiritual practice of all that. Okay, so it's not just the ritual of the Havdalah on Saturday evening. It's actually a daily thing. How do we, when all these secrets that we are learning with the smile and the oneness and okay, so that is basically another deeper understanding of this, what it is to recite the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. Did you ever ask yourself why out of all the things in the Bible, and even we teach our kids, our bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah kids, bnei mitzvah kids, to recite the Shema, and we see it in trope. We keep it, even in the low levels of our Jewish education for the kids, right? So they know this passage. It's very important, and people don't even know why, right? But so that every kid who goes to the Hebrew school here, they can sing it, they can recite it. So later on in life, we learn that there are all these deeper traditions. And the name of 42 letters, which sometimes is the Shema, and sometimes is the first words of Genesis, and quite often has become this kind of like these. You see this in each, there's 7 rows, and in each row there's 6 letters. And there's also in parentheses, you see the shorter version, which is just the initials of those. Have become is how people relate to the very same name, which kind of teaches us that actually what it is, it's a longer meditation on God. So I've seen places where each one of those lines gets a color, like the colors of the 7 colors of the rainbow, or sometimes in other Kabbalistic traditions, every line has it's different colors, not according to the rainbow, a different order. Okay, but what we're learning is that these long names of God with the 42 letters, also one with 72 letters, are basically deeper ways of meditation with God. Later on, we can learn about in Kabbalah, this means this, and this one means that, and each one of those 7 are the lower 7 sephirot of the tree of life. But for now, all we need to know is that these are just longer meditations about God. Right? So if you, for example, you want to say the Shema, you kind of use the first verse, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, and then you say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Olam, blessed is the name of God forever and ever, which is not in the Bible, by the way. That's in a later edition. Why? Because after we said Echad, we experience silence. Did you notice that after we say the Echad, the silence is different than one before in our minds, in our bodies? So after that, this silent name of God, we basically say, this is blessed is the name of God. And then we recite the Ve'ahavta, and we kind of like remain in that meditation for 42 entire words. And if we chant it, it takes a while. And we use that time to kind of be in that unity to make it longer and last longer and feel it in our body. Yeah, we can kind of bring it from our forehead all the way down to the bottom and then back up. Use that time to resonate the works of creation, our life, remembering that we're part of that creation and we're part of the Creator as well. That is basically, without getting into too much detail, this meditation. All right, questions so far? Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and then go ahead.
What does the word translate
To the in them. And you v'dibarta bam, and you shall speak about them.
So bam is them.
Yeah, bam, in them. V'dibarta bam. So if you want to talk about, so see, because what does ve'ahavta mean? I don't have that translation here, but who knows? What does it mean? Love God always. When you, in all your soul, in all your might, right, in all your body. And these things which I command you today, they should be upon your heart. You should teach them to your children. You should speak about them when you sit at home, when you walk on the road, when you go to sleep, and when you rise up. And you tie them as a sign on your hand, and you put them as a remembrance here between your eyes, and you write them on your doorposts and upon your gates. In other words, always, all the time. So the idea is to remember the Creator while we are in the creation. Right? It's like if you're like in a movie, but you remember the director at all times. It's being present in the action, but also being it's a witness and the knower. See what I mean? It's the ability to be present in the world and also look at it at the same time. It's remembering that we are in the world, but we are also of God. And making that love connection as much as we can all the time. Yeah? You asked, who else wanted to ask a question? There was something here. Yeah, go ahead.
Same question.
About Bam. Mm-hmm.
Why is it emphasized?
Oh, I did it.
Yeah, why?
Because it's Bet Mem. It's Maaseh Bereshit is 42. Bet and Mem.
Okay.
The numeric value of
Gotcha.
Bet and Mem is 42, which I believe is another way of the people who actually wrote the Bible to let us know that tradition is known to them. Because I don't know that the word Bam, usually it would be Bahem. It's like a special way that they write it, abbreviated way, which makes us suspect that this is another clue that they added to us. Mm-hmm. And yeah?
Do you also, saying prayer, it's always very empowering to be
Mm-hmm.
present with it. Are you then sort of like a conduit for God? Or,
Yes,
yeah.
because we're practicing and becoming vessels for the divine. right? So if we can hold that consciousness just for one breath, or for one sentence, or for one paragraph, or the actually original Shema, which we don't even have in our prayer books anymore, they've abbreviated and abbreviated. They actually have 248 almost words in it, which was equivalent, according to this tradition, with the 248 limbs, parts of our body that they thought that we had. And in fact, there's only 245. There were three. They were missing three, so that's why you add Adonai Elohechem Emet at the end to match 248. So the traditions almost work. So they just add, right? So basically, it becomes a very, very long meditation that consists of 248 words, which you say very, very silently and very, very in a very concentrated way to kind of bring the divine energy and unite it with all the different limbs of your body. Right. So I'm not sure that they exactly that was like this word is for this and this word. It's more like about the general feeling of the thing, that we try to kind of sanctify our body and our being and bring ourselves to unity as much as possible with our divine maker, so that we can bring it forth into the world, right? Mm-hmm.
And what are the limbs? Are they like
The limbs,
like?
legs, arms,
Well, I mean, you said
48 parts of our body.
Parts of the body.
So different parts,
Okay.
different. So the nose, the ear, the liver, the whatever. Yeah. So different parts of our body parts. Again, I don't know that our bodies have 248 parts, but according to Jewish ancient knowledge, there are 248 parts of our body. I don't know how they counted it, which is why they said that the entire Shema, which ve'ahavta, ve'hayim shamo, and v'asulahem tzitzit, if you know the three different parts of the Shema, they come up to almost 240. So you see, so what it is actually structures of prayer that are actually names of God, that are actually meditations. They can be short as one letter or one word, Yud Hey Vav Hey, Yud, right? Or they can be Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, a sentence, which also had more secrets to it that I can tell you at a later time. Or it can be the Ve'ahavta. So you see, and then you basically, the longer you can stay with that energy. And then there's I'll get to in a second. There are techniques of visualization, which each one of the rows, is a color, or it can be concentrated in one sephirah, one emanation of God. We'll get to that later. Sometimes because we sing it in trope, we can also sing it. So there's different ways to technically do it. But the main idea is that it's a meditation. Jewish prayer is a meditation. And there are many, many different levels to that practice. Yes?
I was just looking at the numeric syntax at bottom. Do we read that as 2 plus 40?
Yeah. Because the order doesn't matter. 2 plus 40 is 40 plus 2. Right? Even in German, you say 42, right? 2 and 40. It doesn't matter. So mem bet is bet mem is the same. 42. Right? So again, the metaphor of 42 is multiplication, like a union. Right? We're taking the 6 days of creation and we're uniting it to the 7th day to create that mandala of 42, if you wish. Okay. Any thoughts? So are you ready for something more? Yeah. So to complete it, to make a whole, to kind of go, let's see that I didn't forget. So this one, since we're talking about numeric values of things, okay. So when we say the Shema, remember, so we learned about the rose. The rose has 5 sturdy petals and 13 petals, and these are the 5 sturdy petals. Remember, and then we put it over here, and where are the rose? So interestingly enough, that rose also exists in the Shema, in the verse of the Shema itself. Shema, Israel, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, we already know, are the 5 petals, the strong petals. But where's the 13 of the flower itself? So according to Jewish gematria, again, the numeric value of letters, what is the numeric value of Aleph? 1. What is the numeric value of Chet? Well, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet. 8. What is the numeric value of Daled? What does that come up to? 13. So here's our rows. Okay, in another way, we meet the rows again. That's in another part of the Zohar. They right. So when we say the Shema, right, we basically say Shema. We basically construct the rows. We say Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai, and then when we get to the Echad, the petals become smaller because they're not words; they're letters. But there's more of them. There are 13. Right. So you can actually imagine. You can actually imagine that rose is built up, around us, and we even do the dance, right? And after we bring up forth the rose, we read the Ve'ahavta, which is the 6 times 7. We go back into creation, all the way to the Sabbath. We kind of like become one with the divine who created the world in 7 days. See, so it's all there to those who have the eyes to see it and to follow this ancient tradition. Now, when you go to synagogue here on Friday nights or Saturday morning, or when you pray anywhere, you can try to practice with all this imagery and all these colors and all these numeric things and all the breaths to see what works for you. Yes?
Many, many years ago, there was a rabbi who came to Rochester. He had been a rabbi in India. And then all the Indian Jews went to Israel. And he said one of the reasons he thought that young Jews went to Buddhism and meditation, he said, because that was missing from basic, everyday Judaism. And that they have that sense in the body that something's missing. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this isn't part of, Hebrew school.
Well, now the teachers are here, so they can, we trust our teachers that they have the methodology to bring this kind of knowledge, right, into the children.
This is missing.
Well, not anymore, not in Temple Sinai. Right, so this is kind of like this project. There's many things to build together as a community, but I think that this project called ROSH-ESTHER is aimed at helping us Jews understand that our tradition is a spiritual one. And at the core of what we do, there's a spiritual practice. There's nothing wrong with going to India or to anywhere to learn meditation techniques. It's fine. We're not the only tradition that does those things. Having said that, we now are, if you didn't know that before, we know that these traditions are deeply embedded in Judaism, and in some ways that is, to my understanding, what Jewish prayer is all about. Okay, is that it's not like here we pray and then we sit for a moment of silence, which is a bit weird to me, because if we have to sit for a moment of silence after prayer, what was prayer? It's a bit of a redundancy. In fact, I'm thinking later on maybe of changing that a little bit. There's nothing wrong with meditation after meditation. That's fine. But I just want to make clear that we don't have to create a moment of meditation after our prayer, because our prayer is meditation. When we say the Shema together, it is a meditation. When we chant the tropes, it is a very deep meditation on the divine names of God. As you see, and I even taught you half of the secrets. Maybe we will. Maybe you'll just figure it. It doesn't matter. There's like endless. By the way, I keep discovering more. And like as I read more Kabbalistic literature, there was a time that I didn't know about the esmach, about the rejoice, until I saw it in another Kabbalistic text from the 13th century. Right? I keep discovering new ones all the time, new ones and nuances of this meditation as I, yeah. So really, that's how it is. So that's what we're saying is very important. I am so sorry, guys. That how long was I muted for? The entire class? Just now?
No, just 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, so that gave you an opportunity to meditate deeply, right? So you're more advanced than we are. So any questions on Zoom, by the way? So while we're at it,
So I was just trying to picture somebody who really like is deeply learned in Kabbalah. So what's the goal? I mean, is the goal to walk through life in this meditative state and just have elevate your appreciation for the essence of life? I mean, what is the ultimate goal? Do you understand my question?
I wish I knew, but I think. By the way, different people have different goals, and even in an interesting thing that I actually related to the meditation of the 42 names. The name with 42 letters and the name with 72 letters, is that Kabbalists who had they had different ways to meditate on it technically, like with different vowel pronunciation, and there were different levels of what they were trying to achieve on different times of the day or whatever. So some of it had to do with kind of like reaching the divine and being united with the source. Some of it had to do with invoking angels that have agency in the world. Some of it was, to create magic and influence the world. So there's actually a spectrum of things that is the goal. There's not one goal. Okay, maybe different people are inclined toward different things. I guess the goal is very simple: to be, slightly more conscious, aware, kinder, better human beings, right? And to kind of be ambassadors of God in the world to the best of our knowledge and understanding capacity, right? However, our worst enemy is our own selves, right? Because our mind is, and our body is filled with all the noise, right? And the goal, Susan, is to, own it and become better versions of ourselves. And that can mean a whole lot of different things in reality, right? So it's not necessarily to be like these mysterious, magicians, but in a sense, yes, we want to be divine warriors and mysterious magicians who can work on ourselves, perfect our inner worlds, at least not damage the world around us so much, right? Be less toxic to ourselves, to others in so many ways. And then if we're able to excel, then even bring good into the world. And in the end, that's what it is. These meditations, these practices are just tools that are supposed to help us daily to do it. Right. And it's not like we do it, so there's designated time in the day when we do the practice in a more concentrated way. And then every moment is also a possibility to do this meditation as we act in the world. And nobody outside has to know that. It's our own little secret. Only the little smile reminds us, right? Each other. Yeah. Anyone else on Zoom has a question or a comment? If you do, you have to unmute yourself and speak. Or forever hold your silence. Or anyone in the room? Yes?
I just feel like there's a sense, just as humans, not even just Judaism, but maybe there's a sense of missing that connection to ourselves, or that attention to being in the moment. Or I just think about kids. We're talking about schools, and mindfulness is like the thing right now. In all schools, like kids are practicing mindfulness constantly, just trying to focus themselves and trying to get in touch with whatever that is. So I think I think it's something people realize is missing, whether you know what it is or not. You don't have that centeredness. It's a recognition of
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, our day and age is scary because in some ways it's so wonderful. And in some ways, with the computers and the internet and AI, which is only starting, right? So even knowledge is becoming, it's so easy to know everything. And, but on the other hand, we are bombarded like never before with, so much noise and so much that these kind of like spiritual meditational abilities become very, very difficult for us with our monkey mind, right, and our tendencies, and so this very like havaya, being in the present, being in our body, being in our breath, being conscious of what we think. If you can add the secret smile, even better, right? Becomes a challenge, and then we can turn into our ancient traditions, Judaism being one of them, not the only one, right? Our for better and for worse, we are of it, so it can come easy to us. You see, each and every one of us, if we have some knowledge of Hebrew, if we have some knowledge of prayer, if we know scripture, if we know those basic things, we're actually got a very great gift. And we can thank our parents for sending us to Hebrew school. And if we didn't, then we can catch up. It's okay. It's not like it's, but so being part of the Hebrew, so again, we are people of the modern world. And for better and for worse, we're also part of this ancient indigenous tribe that for generations has spiritual practices that are aimed at those things that people now are trying to connect. So they will go to Buddhism to find it, which is great. Indeed, in Buddhism, there's amazing techniques. They will go to different, indigenous cultures to find those people. People go to distant islands, right? Trying to catch a glimpse of something authentic. And now I'm in America, so I'm feeling even more so how huge, but also very kind of detached life here is, right? So then going back to, so we're lucky if we're part of the Jewish tribe, of the Jewish faith, that we actually have those practices. And this very, very rich, profoundly rich language of awareness, mindfulness, spirituality, we don't have to go anywhere else but to connect to our own roots and to who we are as individuals, as a community. That is a very powerful thing in this day and age. And mind you, that it has nothing to do with all the politics and the Israel question and all those things that we say that Judaism is about. It is also about that, but in the end, this is the heart of it. This is the core of it. See, it's a very different understanding of what's at the center of all this of our project here. And on top of that, you build an education system and a community and gatherings and rituals and whatever it is, kinasta club, book club, whatever, hiking club, music at the everything is, but all that thing is centered around this kind of like core of spiritual practice. Yeah, anyone? You want to say something, Eric? No. All right. So again, we are bringing back this component to our Jewish institutions. It was always there, but someone has to sometimes to show you, it's here. Just right. Just yeah. So probably, hopefully, so a couple of announcements. All right, before we go home to sleep. So first of all, we're very close to our goal. I forgot to get an update. I think we're only like $200 short or something. So if somebody here got a big inheritance yesterday and wants to just be the last person to, a couple of you to help us reach our camera goal, especially the ones on Zoom, you enjoy the Zoom, please call the office and give your donations to the OWL camera so that we can keep broadcasting our adult ed classes, until the Messiah comes or whatever. That's number one. Number two, God willing, next week it's going to be our very festive last meeting of ROSH-ESTHER for this semester. And because we kind of like read our text till the end, what I'm hoping to maybe be able to do is to have a special Hanukkah light meditation. So if you can come in person because it's going to be much better if you were in the room, because we're going to dim the light and light some candles. It's going to be very exciting. So make an effort. Come in person if you can. If not, we'll try to broadcast it from Zoom as well. But the effect will be greater if you actually are in the room. Okay? So that's for next week. It'll be the grand finale. However, ROSH-ESTHER will continue because we see that people are attending and it's wonderful. So what's going to be is we're going to have a vacation for Christmas break or winter break, whatever you want to. Not Christmas, right? Because winter break, whatever. Christmas. By the way, Christmas is also a very Jewish holiday. Lights in the dark. You'll see next week. It'll all come together. I see the lights. I don't see a threat. I see, oh, look, everybody's participating in the celebration of light. It's wonderful. So it's beautiful. Yes, it's all Hanukkahs. It's just an advanced way of doing Hanukkah. It's the same idea. Light in the dark. Happy lights. That's what I see. Everybody, join in. Right. So after the break in January, we're going to have another semester of 9 sessions. That's going to lead us all the way to like somewhere in March. And then we're going to have a break. And then we're going to have, I don't remember how it's divided exactly. There's going to be some breaks in the middle too. And then another 6 sessions all the way to the spring. So you don't have to commit for like all semester. It's still pretty manageable. Probably not, but we can pretend. If not, we'll find another holy number. Eventually it will. But so what you should know is that the next semester is going to be called, the subtitle is In the Footsteps of Abraham, a Spiritual Journey. So that's it.
Kabbalah.
Well, yes, Kabbalah, but in the yes, Kabbalah, yes, everything, but in the footsteps of Abraham, a spiritual journey. And it's going to be Kabbalah, but text about Abraham from Kabbalah. Okay? Mm-hmm. No, in the book, I'll be giving you text from the Zohar and the book of Yetzirah and other books.
Are there going to be practical laboratory sessions with the little mud figures?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. We should, yes, by all means, we can.
All staggering
When,
around.
yes, dissecting animals in the middle. That's what Abraham. We're, sacrificing our children. Different things that Abraham loved doing. When he was he was a wild card, So he was the joker in the pack. So we're going to have to, so some of it is going to be contained. Like, don't try this at home kind of thing, right? So yes, it's still going to be Kabbalah. It's always Kabbalah, but there's so many different ways to enter it, right? So we were with the Rose for a semester, and then we're going to be with Abraham. And for the last third semester, I still haven't decided. We'll see how the second one goes and who comes and what happens. All right, so bring a friend, bring yourself, and you also have time to rest during the winter break to see how you are with all this. All right, so next week, special 7th light meditation towards Hanukkah. And so come in person, Zoom people, and also real people come in person. And then it'll be 2 weeks of break, and then another 9-week semester in the footsteps of Abraham, a Kabbalistic spiritual journey.
And will that be
Same time, same place, same thing.
So Wednesdays.
Routine, Wednesdays, routine, tradition. Okay? All right. God bless you all. Don't forget the Holy Rose. Don't forget the meditations. Happy solstice. Very important. It's coming up.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Nebraska was unbelievable. It's like Paris, only different.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Where?